A, B, C, or D.
Okay, so we're talking fiction here. We're talking about basics plus the depth and irony, paradox, satire, sarcasm, all that stuff. But in order to harp upon those things that are really complex, if we're struggling at the base level with, oh, you can't even pick out that this is a spider, or you can't pick out that, yes, he's homeless, but he's grateful. If you're having to point that out to them directly, then we have a problem with just their schema, their thinking in general. So we got to get them thinking like this all the time, every time they read fiction. So I was lucky, again, I was just looking for resources. I'm really good at finding like things and looking, okay, maybe this video can help. Maybe incorporating this particular small little lesson can help. So I love TED Ed. I LOV them. So I found these. This is for situational irony. I think a lot of the irony was throwing a lot of kids off, especially looking at the vocabulary and also looking at that they're not picking it up in the stories. They don't know to identify it in the stories either. So the situational irony, the verbal irony, and dramatic irony are some great videos from TED Ed. Like the guy breaks it down so well in such friendly language. I'll do situational so we can see that real quick.
Picture this. Your friend and you are watching a sitcom, and the sassy sidekick walks into a room carrying a 4-tiered wedding cake. He trips, falls, and face plants into the cake. Your friend doubles over with laughter and says, "So ridiculous! So ironic!" Well, quick, what do? Do you laugh along with the laugh track and let this grievous misinterpretation of irony go? Or do you throw caution to the wind and explain the true meaning of irony? If you're me, you choose the latter. Unfortunately, irony has been completely misunderstood.
So I like that he talks about the misunderstandings.
Yep.
And then he clarifies it. And it's only 3 minutes long. This is something that you can share on Google Classroom.
Yeah.
This is something that after you teach it in class or use it in class, it can be something that they can go back to themselves. And these are, like I said, there's 3 videos. They are right on point. And if you want a little help as far as like additional, there's the full, they call it full lesson. It's not really full, but it's questions. It's some quiz questions. It's kind of like, there's the video and then there's the thinking part right here. Get them to think about what they just saw. And then it says dig deeper. And it's usually like a little passage and some other resources you can use for teaching that. So I'm showing all this to say, you can present this in your class and have them do a whole day on, situational irony, or a whole day on the 3 different types of ironies. If you think that will break it down enough. If you feel like you have to break it down even further, you can do it irony by irony by irony. Or, here's some other, this one right here, where is it? Texas Gateway. This is really strange to me. So I used this for evidence last year when I was teaching evidence to the 10th graders, and I really liked that they had articles. Texas Gateway Online. I don't know that it's actively updated all the time, but for what I saw, what I have seen, these are excellent little articles here, and they even have little questions and quizzes interactive there. Again, not just throwing it off, but these kids are in high school. And you can't just talk them to death. You have to get them to make connections and do the connectionism themselves. So this little articles here talks about the difference between them here. Breaks it down even further. Even though they took notes and did the Freyer models or whatever you did, they still need to continuously see it. Then this one says, is it ironic or not? Talks about how people get it twisted all the time. This right here is for.
I'm sorry to interrupt you because I've pulled things from here before. Do you actually just use this in the classroom, like have this presentation up and you?
Whenever I used this last year, I printed it out and I had the kids read the text.
Okay.
I printed it out
with the interactive exercises and things like that. I always tried to figure out how to do it, and they used to have this before where you could assign it as a class.
Yeah.
but I don't know if
I don't think they have that anymore. Like I said, I don't think it's
Yeah.
updated, but I still like what it's saying. So last year I pulled the articles, I had them read, I had them marking their understanding and their confusion and everything.
Okay.
And then I pulled the questions and did them on Plickers.
Nice.
For the day that Plickers were working with technology.
Yeah, I know.
I just had it ready and printed out, and I did questions per section. You can think about, not sectionals, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about saying. Stations. You can do stations if you
Yes.
like. You can have them do rotations.
Yes.
So just think about taking it off the paper sometimes.
Mhm.
And hey, this is situational iron over here. When you go through these, do a reflection and show me what you understand. After answering these questions, you come to me and we'll talk about what you need to know, clarify, and just have them rotating around the room and doing it like that. That's an option as well. This paradoxal, I like this one a whole lot. Because a lot of people talk about paradox, but they don't do it the right way. They always say, oh, it's just like an oxymoron. A paradox is a statement, or it's a full understanding of something. An oxymoron is a phrase. It's just a couple of words. We're teachers. We know, English teachers, we feel that way about everything. So, again, you can use these as stations. You can have them work on this on their own. You can just print it out. It's just a lot of options there. So I just wanted to give the resources that I found. Because I stayed up late last night going through them, and I'm like, this is worth it. I'm guilty of finding something like, oh, that's good, and not really going through it. But I went through these. I went through these, and I liked them.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm contemplating doing maybe setting up like a web quest with them.
WebQuest? Okay.
Or like a hyperdoc, I guess, would
Yeah.
be like the new thing to do.
Yes.
The in thing.
It is the end thing, the hyperdocs. Scholastic had a few things. Read Write Think had a few things. I liked this Read Write Think. The Scholastic and Read Write had the fractured fairy tale.
Oh, yes.
I liked that.
I love those.
So they can go in and type in. I'm just typing something crazy. By and it gives them a chance to break down what we're asking them to break down anyway and write their story.
Okay.
First by graphic organizer. What's the character's name? I think I want the character's name to be
Junebug.
Rita. I don't know.
Just kidding.
Okay, then hit enter, and it gives them these little graphic organizers. Press the enter key, and then ask the question, what does the character look like? So we're doing character analysis with the looks first. Like she's short. Oh, hit enter, my bad. Talking about looks, as you continue to type in looks and all that, you talk about how does the character act. So you see how steals come into play here, blah, blah, blah. You see how do characters in story react to the character, that's effect on others. Okay. Okay. Select another preference or choose for. Okay, so then character map, conflict map. Ask the question, what is the conflict? Another person, a thing, a thought, a feeling. So it just kind of prompts them to think about it. That's there. Okay, when they get finished, they'll have these little pieces they can put together in a fairy tale or a narrative, fictional story.
Okay.
That way they're not like, where do I start from? Or what do I want to write about? Or what? This is something they can engage with. Same thing with here.
Would this be something that you would actually engage them with our narrative piece?
Yep.
Okay.
Just to get the juices flowing. Just to go, not, hey, I want you guys to write a fictional story, and then what? Like a lot of them, they hear that and they just start panicking. So you want to give them some resources to do that. Scaffold it, break it up in little small pieces. Let's talk about the character. What do we need to do? Because modeling all of that will take so long. You can do this along with them instead of you doing the whole thing and then saying, now you go. You can take, okay, let's talk about our character. Walk them through. I think my character is this. It's really up to you. Walk them through the thinking process through your think alouds and all that. But it's a tool that they can do, that they can use. Even if you don't have the technology, you can still use the printouts.
You can type out.
You can
all
still
those
type
things.
it out. I think it actually has it already printed out. You can do a graphic organizer. It already has it. So that's just some options for when it's time for them to think about their own, and when we want them to apply the paradox and apply the suspense or the put in the irony in the story, they'll have something to work from. Like, hey, I remember practicing this.
We'll have that base.
I'm really great at. I know the other ones are good too, but I want to do a situational irony. I want to do this, do that, and give them some options. Or
That's kind of what I was thinking when we were doing, right? Because we're just having them. They're
They have to
developing
choose.
essentially the fairy tale, but then from there you're saying, okay, now look at your plot, and now let's try to incorporate.
we're gonna
you know,
incorporate
this new element.
at least one of them.
At
now,
least
we
one new
said-
element.
We said that
Yeah.
learning goal would be at least one of the elements, and then for our extendeds, I got quite a few gifted kids in my class. They're going to be required to do all of them.
Yeah.
So that's the one way we can do the proficiency scale so that
Definitely.
everyone is. So how are we feeling about this stuff here?
I'm feeling really great about it.
I think it sounds good. Are you actually are you holding off until next week?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know because we had a conversation about Friday about
Mhm.
giving them the opportunity to start brainstorming as their extension
Yeah. So
When are you doing your test corrections?
tomorrow.
Okay.
me too.
But I
Tomorrow is Friday, right?
well, but the thing, yeah. So the thing is that for those kids like Carson, makes a 94 on the test. Like we had talked about the extension.
Well, those are
Being
kids
start-
that I would pair up with somebody who scored really poorly and use those kids.
And that's
To that
completely
Because
fine.
they know it so well,
Mhm.
and maybe hearing it from a student who kind of gets it. Maybe they know the language that we don't know. Because
Yep.
sometimes we do this. Maybe they know the language we don't know. If that kid is like, I really don't want to work with so-and-so, and I just don't feel like it. This is your opportunity to say, you know what? Since you want to work on your own and you want to already get started, I want to give you the opportunity because you're going to be required to use all 4 of these.
Yep.
Okay, so I want you to go ahead and grab a Chromebook or grab my packet that you created, whatever, and start working on your character. Start working on this. Start working on that. What things, the way that 21st century learning, in my opinion, should be, everyone can't be on the same page. And that's messy for a teacher. It is.
Yeah.
It's super messy, and it's like a frame of mind that we have to get out of, that everybody should be on the same pace. It's just not true. They don't come in on the same.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, you're going to be worn out just from, checking and walking around. But at least they'll be doing their own learning at the pace and trying to hit the goal that you set for them. Because it's the real learning comes from, hey, this is where I'm starting, and this is where I'm growing. It's not did you pass the test. It's did you grow to the point and show mastery in this particular skill. So I think I've had to kind of get out of the habit of, well, I got to move on without you because I got to do this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
It's okay if this unit lags on because you got 5 kids who don't get it. Keep them there and let them get it before you move them on. You can work with the kids who get it, go on to unit 2 because it's poetry, and they can actually use their stories to write a poem about. You're talking about condensing, making connections. So we got to and it's really hard. I'm not gonna say it's easy. It's really hard, but we have to get it out of our heads that everybody has to be on the same exact thing. It's just not reality. So what we said is we're going to do these things. We're going to differentiate it under the same umbrella, but we've done the guided reading. We're going to continue to do that because we don't want to move on and them not knowing the basics, especially knowing what they're supposed to know before we move on. So we don't want to move on yet. Okay? How do we respond? They already know it. We just talked about the kids who kind of get it already. So we can talk about how they can choice board it. They have the option to include all of the elements, the deep elements we're trying to teach. They can go on beyond, what we have there. They can help with the peer tutoring if they want to. I don't like pressing a kid who usually gifted kids are a little strange. And I don't like pressing them to do something they don't want to do when it comes to other kids because sometimes it can be a clash, to be a fight for no reason. If they desire to be social and help a friend out, okay. But if not, we can use some of these other ones here. Maybe they can do 2 narratives, or maybe they can, from their story, they can do a couple of 55 words. Okay? Just keep it flexible and keep it open. How does that sound, Miss?
I
Kim?
like it. That's what I'm taking a couple notes on my own. I like it a lot. It's building that choice board or that choice menu for our students and just having those things available
Mm-hmm.
for those who finish early we need to work along, et cetera, et cetera.
So